So this is a video on solving quadratic equations using the formula. So we of course are going to be using the formula x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you haven't seen it before, it always looks like a bit of a mouthful, but it's easy enough to use despite how scary it looks. So let's take a wee look at this first one. We're going to try and solve this quadratic equation here. 2x squared minus 7x plus 4 equals 0. And we're going to give our answer then to 2 decimal places. We need to find our a, b and c, and I always write them down here to start with. Our a is what's multiplied by the x squared, so that's 2. Our b is what's multiplied by the x, that's minus 7. And our c is a number on its own. And in this case, that's going to be 4. Subbing the numbers then into our formula. X equals minus b, so that's a minus 7. That's going to give us a 7. Plus or minus, I'll explain that a bit more in a second. B squared minus 7 squared, that's minus 7 times minus 7 gives us a positive 49. That's a really common error, happens all the time. Take away 4 times a times c. So a times c is 8. 4 times 8 then is 32. So it's take away 32 all over 2a. And so that's going to give me 4. That gives me then x is 7 plus or minus the square root of 49. Take away 32 gives me 17 all over 4. At this stage I would split it up. There's a plus and a minus here, and that means you split them up. One of them's a plus. This would gives us our two answers. 7 plus root 17 over 4, and then x equals 7 minus root 17 over 4. You put that in your calculator, and you put this in 7 plus the square root of 17, then divide by 4. Careful of that, again, people make mistakes here, but you should get 2.78. It might be worth you trying it now. And then the other one is 0.72, and both of those answers then are to 2 decimal places. It should make vague sense as well. 7 plus the square root of 17. So the square root of 17 is just going to be over 4, because the square root of 16 is 4. So the square root of 17 is 4 and a bit. So 7 plus 4 and a bit gives us 11 and a bit. Divided by 4, then it should be quite close to 3. And that one, of course, is quite close to 3. Similar then kind of for the second one. So let's do one more. And we'll see how we get on. So let's pick a slightly trickier one and see if we can get it to work for us. I'm going to go for k squared minus 6k minus 1 equals 0. Obviously we're just going to sub it in for our x here. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So our a, b and our c. A is what's multiplied by the square term, so it's just a 1. That's minus 6, and then that's minus 1. So our formula is, in this case we're going to write k, we normally write x, with minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. K equals, so minus b, that's the same as the last one, minus 6, that's a 6, plus or minus the square root b squared minus 6 squared gives us a positive 36. Take away 4ac, so a times c gives me minus 1, so minus 4 times minus 1, so that's actually a plus 4. Again, that's a really common error. Make sure you see where that's coming from. All over 2a, so in this case this is going to be 2. K equals 6 plus or minus the square root then of 40 all over 2. And so I've split it up as I did in this last one. 6 plus the square root of 40 over 2, or k equals 6 minus the square root of 40 all over 2. I would now put this into the calculator, but again, as I said with the last one, have a bit of a notion about what it is you're looking for. The square root of 40 is going to be 6 and a bit, because we know the square root of 36 is 6. So square root of 40 is going to be 6 and a bit. So 6 plus 6 and a bit divided by 2. I'm expecting, that's about 12 divided by 2. It should give me 6-ish. And the other one 6, take away 6, that's going to give me kind of a small minus number. So let's see what we have here. So 6 plus the square root of 40 equals, and then I'm going to divide that by 2 equals, and yeah, sure enough, so it's 6.16. That's the 2 decimal places. 6 take away the square root of 40. I'm sure you guys are better with the calculator than me. So 6 take away square root of 40. I'm going to hit equals there, and I can divide my answer then by 2. And it's minus then 0.16. And those are my two solutions then.